Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm checking my volumes. I'm going to dedicate this to Mr. B at Link2, who is one of my sponsors. He doesn't like it when I check the volumes at the beginning of a video. Here we go. This is they're talking on CNBC about the pullback we had in crypto, specifically Bitcoin. Listen to what they got to say here.
Bitcoin hitting its lowest level since late February today, dropping below $54,000 at its lows of the session. The digital currency tanking after Mt. Gox, the Japanese Bitcoin exchange that went bankrupt a decade ago, said it's beginning to pay back creditors in Bitcoin. That could result in nearly $9 billion worth of coins being dumped onto the market. The rival Ether dropped about 5% itself. It has now lost more than a quarter of its value since hitting an all-time high in February. At one point today, $170 billion had been wiped out of the crypto market. But where are the coins going from here? Let's check in with the chart master, Carter. You've got a Chartapalooza coming to our way.
Yeah, and we can move through them fairly quickly. There are 3 long-term charts and 3 short-term charts. But the question is, before we look at that, weakness to take advantage of or weakness to stay away from? It gets down to that. It's one or the other. Let's figure it out together. This goes back to 2015, Bitcoin at 200. Now let's annotate it. First chart, second chart. You can see the lines are well-defined. You can call that an ascending triangle. You can call it whatever you want. But we know that we attempted to break out, third chart, and we didn't. Now the question is, do we drift back to the uptrend line? And that's perfectly tolerable, normal, or is something worse afoot? Let's go to the short-term charts and try to figure it out. So here is just over the past 2 years. Let's do the same thing. Let's annotate it and put some lines in. Those are mathematically parallel lines, Tyler, and we are down to the lower band of this well-defined channel from which we've moved 18,000 to almost 70. And so my hunch here is that you buy this dip. It should be noted that since January 2023 to present, we've had 6 20% plus sell-offs. This one is 27%. My hunch is it's weakness to take advantage of rather than weakness to stay away from.
Very interesting. Those are really interesting illustrative charts. Mike, Bitcoin is in your acronym. In fact, it's BRAVE is the acronym. How are you feeling about Bitcoin and what Carter just said, that this is weakness to take advantage of?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first letter of the acronym, actually. I mean, look, this is a situation where we have excess supply, or at least the fear of excess supply. And, in the short term, that's what creates volatility for any asset. And that's what we're seeing here. But the fact is that the amount of additional supply that we're talking about is, like the quantity of Bitcoin itself, finite in nature. And therefore, I'm with Carter. I don't know whether I had actually thought that this was going to create the level of support. I actually thought there might be some short-term weakness that would push it a little bit further on that selling pressure, but I would be a buyer.
Okay. Well, I was a buyer of XRP, not Bitcoin. I do have some Bitcoin, but I don't plan on selling my Bitcoin, but I've got about a Bitcoin and a half anyway. But here's what Dark Defender says. Look at him. XRP hit latest support. He says, as we approach the lowest level, I anticipated any movement below 39 cents could alter the structure we've been observing. Weekly RSI reversal incoming. Have a great week ahead. He says targeting $1.88, $5.85, and $18.22. I like it. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to keep buying it. If it dips more, I'll be buying some more XRP. That's just the way it is. Okay. This is Lauren Beliv, Ripple's head of U.S. public policy. Listen to this.
Ripple's work enables global financial institutions, businesses, governments, and developers to move, manage, and tokenize value. So we're excited to have Lauren here today to speak with us, tell us more about Ripple's policy engagement efforts in Washington, D.C., and how everything's going with crypto heading into kind of the end of the year, the second half of the year. So, Lauren, thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, I feel like so many things at Ripple, like the hits don't stop. I mean, a couple weeks ago, you all announced you'll be launching a stable coin here in the near future. How do you think about that, specific new product, Lauren, in the context of the stablecoin, economy and the benefits there, and how does it fit into, kind of the broader picture as you touched on, with enabling commerce and transactions?
No, this is absolutely thrilling. In terms of taking a step back, Ripple has enabled the crypto solutions for businesses around the world. We are in 67 countries. We've launched payment systems and pilots from Brazil, South Korea, Palau, and you have to really think about what that means for the general globalization of the world. The next step is stablecoin, and we are really excited about this launch. We keep hearing from our customers, this is a customer demand, that they want a common dollarized method of transaction, and that is widely available and always on. And so we hope that this will be the right fit for our existing business channels. And there's so much opportunity here. Today, the stablecoin market is about $150 billion, and we have not entered that market yet. And we expect this market to exceed nearly $3 trillion by 2028. That was independent research that was done. And I think that clear demand is showcasing that the trust, stability, and utility from a company that is compliance first, which Ripple is, would be an ideal player. And we're looking to have this pegged to both the XRP ledger and the Ethereum networks.
And tell us more about where that syncs up with the government, and where there are kind of partnership opportunities for you all with government on moving stable coins forward.
Yeah, well, currently we are working very closely with the New York DFS, and that's a focus for us, and we are complying with all current.
Well, this is interesting because if you remember, when Ripple won the SEC lawsuit, Meta Lawman ended up suing the New York Department of Financial, or no, maybe not suing them, but he did a Freedom of Information Act request because right after Ripple won the lawsuit, the New York DFS dropped XRP from their list of approved crypto tokens. And he was trying to Freedom of Information Act request the communications between the SEC, any communications between the SEC and them, like maybe there was something nefarious that had gone on. I think that was resolved, but now Ripple is working with the New York Department of Financial Services on their stablecoin.
Both mostly through the state level. But what's very exciting is
how is that in the middle of an SEC lawsuit, they're able to work with the New York Department of Financial Services?
As we speak, the Congress is negotiating a stablecoin bill between Chairman McHenry and Ranking Member Waters. I know the Senate is involved, the Treasury is involved, the New York Fed is involved, as is the state. And so that's something that could really set a great pathway, hopefully for both state pathways to have jurisdiction over this, as well as having a federal oversight. And then we would be able to have the regulatory clarity, not only to operate in the country, but also to identify really good U.S. banking partners and have that business relationship and the security around that business relationship that we want to pursue.
And is the same thing happening globally for you all as well?
Yes, it's definitely a global market, and we're seeing actions, across the board, both in the EU, UK, Singapore, and so this is something that we can see start in the with our launch and expand.
I don't care what the market's done in the last 48 hours or whatever. How could anybody not be bullish on what Ripple's got going on and bullish on XRP? I don't get it. Okay, this is Jim Rickards, and he is now calling, he's not saying there's going to be a $27,000 gold. He's saying that if people lost faith in the US dollar, he believes that they would have to mark gold at $27,000 to get that faith back.
If gold is not a monetary asset, why does the United States have 8,000 tons? 8,000 metric tons. Like, why don't you have an auction and get the money, And they don't have a good answer for that. Well, the answer is that It still has a monetary role. They just don't want to talk about it. Now, take what I just said and combine it with my discussion about confidence in the dollar. I'm not saying we're going back to a gold standard right away, but here's where the $27,000 comes from. It's not a forecast in the sense of, sit tight, it'll hit $27,000. It's an answer to a question. If you had to restore confidence in the dollar, and if you had to go to a gold standard to do that, which we might, what would the price of gold have to be to make that work? And it's not complicated. I took M1. M1 is a pretty good definition of the money supply. It's broader than M0, but not as broad as M2. Take M1, ask yourself, how much backing do I need to support the dollar? You don't need 100%. The Austrians bang the table and yell 100%. Historically, somewhere between 20 and 40% is enough to maintain confidence. How much gold do we have? 8,133 tons. So with those inputs, you say, okay, if I have 8,000 or so tons, metric tons, and I need to support an M1 money supply of X with 40% gold, what would the price per ounce have to be in order to make that work? And the answer is $27,000. It's just, by the way, it keeps going up. I said the same thing 6-7 years ago, and I said $10,000. I said, Jim, did you change your mind? I said, no, they expanded the money supply. So in other words, if you change one of the inputs, you're going to get a different answer. So the reason the answer is a lot higher today is because the money supply is a lot higher. But take the money supply, take 40% of that, take 8,000 tons, divide the gold by the dollars, and the price per ounce is about $27,000. If you come up with a lower price, what do you want? That's the math. That's 8th grade math. But or my day was 6th grade math, but whatever. If you pick a lower price, you say, well, that's too high. We think it should be $5,000 an ounce. You can do it, but that is highly, highly deflationary.
Okay, now I want to show you something. I find this very interesting. This is from Chad Steingraber. Mario Nofal posts a Ripple becoming the new global Federal Reserve. As BRICS aligns, builds up out the new digital currency rails that does not use SWIFT, the U.S. must have an answer. XRP, the global bridge currency to connect them all. What's interesting about this to me is that who Mario Nofal is, and I'm assuming that that's where this is coming from because I've seen him make a few comments about Ripple lately. Well, I've been in social media for a while and I noticed things, and one thing about this guy I noticed is that he came out of nowhere. Anytime somebody comes out of nowhere on social media and all of a sudden this guy's all of a sudden out of nowhere. You gotta understand, I've been here for 6 years. This is one of those guys that was kind of there, but wasn't that big. He wasn't that, I didn't notice him. I've seen, and he's not the first one, there's many of them. I've seen them come out and all of a sudden they go from zero to whatever. And it makes me wonder one of two things. Either they've got bots and they're buying followers, or somebody has put them in a place to be big so that they can guide got a message or whatever. I'm not saying which one he is or if he is one. I'm just saying he came out of nowhere and all of a sudden he's this big thing, okay? But now out of nowhere, he's bringing up Ripple. Could Ripple be the new And you got to keep in mind, all the people he has on his spaces are all the standard cartoon monkey guys like Rand Nooner and all this. So this is kind of like something where my radar gets thrown up. His best friends are the Rand Nooner, all the people that are anti-Ripple and that have always been promoting Ethereum and the cartoon monkeys and the meme coins and all the BS, okay? Those are the guys that are on his show all the time. Now, those may just be people that are paying him to go on the show. I don't know. But it's kind of odd that all of a sudden he switches gears to Ripple. Could Ripple be the new global Federal Reserve? Wall Street analysts speculate that the BRICS coalition, those countries aim to challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar, potentially with a Ripple crypto strategy. Putin and Xi have expressed interest in cryptocurrencies to counter U.S. influence. a multi-country cryptocurrency could potentially up in the petrodollar system. Paving the way for a new financial order based on blockchain technology and real assets. Ripple's technology, particularly the XRP ledger, offers a decentralized platform for rapid, secure transactions. Capabilities can underpin a new asset-backed currency, reducing reliability on central banks. Ripple, their payment network, facilitates cross-border transactions, potentially replacing SWIFT. Combined with on-demand liquidity, RippleNet leverages XRP to bypass the need for pre-funded accounts, streamlining international payments. Is Ripple capable of building the new global Federal Reserve? Folks, I've been here for 6 years for a reason. The reason I've been here for 6 years is because I've never believed that Ripple was an ordinary company, and I've never believed that XRP was an ordinary digital asset, and I still don't. In DAIXRP.com, I'm going to talk to you more about some of the reasons that I think and thought this. Okay? I'm going to show you some of them, because there's not a doubt in my mind this is not an ordinary company. It's not an ordinary digital asset. This is not Dogecoin. I mean, I laugh all the time about some of the stupid that people are focused on just because they see some green candles. But in the end, it's going to be this. It's going to be this. In the end, look, I have always believed, in the end, there's going to be a handful of these that are the chosen ones to be allowed to be a part of the financial system. And the others will either be allowed to live or they will kill them. And they can kill them in 1,000 different ways. Make no mistake about that. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Is Ripple capable of building the new global Federal Reserve? Here we go.